I really wasn't even planning on making a review tonight, but honestly, I'm going to make this as short and sweet as I possibly can make it. Okay. For this Raw, I did have very low expectations for it. Really did. Because they really do need some improvements. But I will say for the beginning, was just as... Well, with Cena coming out saying the champ is here for thousands and thousands and thousands of boos, I will say that the New Day was the most entertaining moment of that entire segment. Xavier Woods coming out there with his trombone. And honestly, y'all, I got no beef with Xavier Woods. I'm not going to say I have no beef with the New Day. I don't like their gimmick. I still don't like their gimmick. But I will say that Xavier Woods is the most entertaining guy in the entire group. And I'm fine with hearing him come out every once in a while. Especially him with his trombone. But it's kind of funny how the U.S. match got cut short after all the hubbub about, you know, him going against Seth Rollins to get the freaking belt back. You thought it would be a legit open U.S. title championship match that will actually go all the way through, making the belt seem like it's worth something. But then it ended up clashing between the feud. It ended up clashing with the Dudleys coming in and the rest of New Day coming in. It ended up being gearing to it was a transition to the feud with the Dudleys. That's the one thing I kind of disagree with. This is the U.S. title. This is a title that means a lot to this country, that has had a lot of prestigious holders. John Cena has done a good job at actually making that belt work something. You want to at least have a legit match with a clean win, whether it's Cena or not Cena. You want to have a legit win. You want that entire match to make the belt worth something and make those two individuals look good. Because every U.S. title match since Cesaro on up has been great. And it actually made that belt worth something. But making it as a transition for the Dudleys is wrong. I don't care if the Dudleys came from the Attitude Era. I don't care if they're well known for their TLC matches with Edge and Christian and the Hardy Boys. I don't freaking care. They should be put last when it comes to the U.S. title. They should be put last when it comes to a title, period. And since it's the transition to the New Day, no, it shouldn't have happened like that. That's my opinion of it. And I can go against all the other matches, but I will say that some of the matches were great. And I liked how we end up seeing Wade Barrett again, and Wade Barrett made the return of King Barrett, going pretty much knocking out Stardust and Adrian Neville. I enjoyed that because Wade Barrett needs to have some sort of a comeback as a heel, and that was one of the best comebacks I've ever seen lately. But despite all that, that was a great moment. But I will say this. The moment of the night definitely was the segment between, of course, Paul Heyman and the Big Show. The Big Show can turn it off. He can turn it on. He can turn it back off again. He can turn it back off for a long time. And then he can turn it back on again. The Big Show needs to make himself as relevant as he can be, because he pretty much took all that relevancy away from Mark Henry tonight. Mark Henry has no purpose in being there anymore. He had his butt handed to him by the Big Show. No matter how much you try to put the feud together, the feud is supposed to be epic. The feud is supposed to be worth watching. This was not worth watching at all. Mark Henry had no offense, no defense. It was like John Cena at SummerSlam. But worse. Way worse. Because he's pretty much equal to the same size and strength as the Big Show. And got knocked out, within 3 minutes? Probably less. Mark Henry, after that moment, needs to consider retirement, seriously, and not come back. But if that was supposed to be his retirement match, or his last match before he goes into the Hall of Fame, he made a big mistake. Seriously, a big mistake. By far. I never really expected Mark Henry to look that bad, but he looked really, really bad tonight. And speaking of bad, let's talk about the Divas. Don't get me wrong. Y'all know how much I like the Divas. Y'all know how much I like the Divas Revolution. Y'all know how much I am absolutely gearing for these girls to be at their best. But I'm sick of these women sounding like freaking robots. I've already put my top three, the top 3 things that can help the Divas division out. I've already put that up there with a Divas Revolution, what have you. I put that up there. And honestly, one of them is teach them how to freaking talk. That is what you should do. Teach them how to freaking talk. They sound like robots. It drives me insane how they sound like robots. But I will say this. Nikki Bella, by far, leaps and bounds, sounds better than everybody up there put together. Brie, of course, I already said that Brie sounds great when she's on the mic, but she didn't even talk at all tonight. Neither did Alicia Fox, and I was alright when Alicia Fox did not speak, because she just can't talk either. But all I can say is that Nikki is the only chick up there that sounds and looks good, while everybody else sounds stupid, including Charlotte. Charlotte is supposed to be the champ. She is supposed to sound like she has some kind of elegance, some kind of grace. Shoot, she can even sound like a freaking heel. I don't care, but sound convincing. They're all like machines. It drives me insane. Can anybody do something with them? And worst of all, Paige. I'm sorry, I love me some Paige. I love me some Paige. I love me some Charlotte. I love me some Becky. But I'm not even going to talk about Becky and Paige's accents. It's not about them being from the UK. It's not about them being from a different country. It's not about Becky being Irish. It is not about Paige being English. Has nothing to do with that. Or British, whatever. It's just, you can still teach them how to freaking talk. I mean, Wade Barrett is a better speaker than those two. And she's supposed to be heel. And she sounds ridiculous. She sounds like a spoiled child. My gosh, even AJ Lee. Yeah, when she, and yes, dare I mention AJ Lee. At least when AJ Lee spoke, it sounded convincing. And maybe a bit snarky. And I know that Paige has it in her. I know she does. I don't know what the holdup is. I don't know what's wrong. But it's just wrong. If you were trying to be a heel, freaking sound convincing. That's all that I ask. Then it ended up being a ridiculous 6 Divas tag. But I will admit this. When Paige talked about Nikki's 2 boyfriends, and I do believe she's talking about Nikki, not Nikki and Brie. I think she's talking about Nikki, with the whole Total Divas season finale being about Nikki and Dolph, when she's supposed to be dating Cena. I think she was talking about Nikki, and I'm gonna admit this. That was clever. That was clever, and it was hilarious, and I enjoyed that. I'm not gonna deny it. I enjoyed that moment. But the match itself was just blah. Seriously. But the way it ended with Paige walking out, at least they did that right. Now, I don't give a crap what anybody says. They stole the whole Joseph Park angle from TNA, and they are literally rewriting it and rerouting it and revamping it, especially with Halloween around the corner. Now, for anybody that wants to know what Joseph Park thought about last week's Raw, I actually did put the tweet on what he said, not only in the description box of last week's Raw, but also on my Wrestling Fan Nation page. I'll leave a card up there if you guys want to see that. But despite all that, I will say that the way they did it was pretty good. Pretty interesting. It's somewhat similar, but the way they did it has a very unique twist, especially how Kane somehow transformed when the ambulance stopped. He transformed into Psycho Kane. But here's my question. Why in the world did they think that anybody cared about an employee evaluation as a segment of the show? It's a given that Triple H and Stephanie have to know something. They got to know what's going on here. And the fact they had this random chick that somehow vanished when Kane came out as an evaluator for his job was just stupid and done to death. Seriously. I would have been fine if he had the dual personality thing, which is what they were doing. First they did dual personalities, then they did amnesia, brief amnesia, to where he blacks out and then becomes Kane. Now he's doing a whole evaluation to where nothing's happened. Then they had the whole vignette about how Kane used to be, and then the whole vignette about Seth Rollins beating the crap out of him. It was just ridiculous. And then it went off into the most random promo I've ever heard in my life from Seth Rollins, the guy that's supposed to be champion. Sure, I'm used to the whole chicken cowardly heels. I'm used to those kind of heels. That's fine. If you at least make it seem entertaining. But the fact that he was like, oh no, I'm not going to hell, I'm going to heaven. That's like, what? What are you trying to prove that? What are you doing? Like, this is the most random of random rants or random promo. I don't know what it was, but it wasn't anything that Seth would do. It was weird. Not to mention the fact that he got freaking dragged to hell last week. You think that Seth Rollins would be paranoid, looking over his shoulder, wondering where Kane is, and definitely be afraid of him when Kane comes around. And the Lex Man actually mentioned that on Twitter, and he made sense. It made perfect sense. If you got dragged to hell, literally, well, not literally, but if you got dragged to hell like Seth Rollins got dragged when Kane took him down, you will be scared. You'll be scared out of your mind. You will literally have the crap scared out of you at every single corner. Be paranoid, looking around on your shoulder. Even at the very look of Kane will literally make you just pee your pants. Seriously, it would. So why wasn't Seth Rollins that paranoid to where he literally, oh gosh, he wasn't paranoid at all. This is funny how he had an anonymous complaint put against Kane in order for the whole evaluation to go through. How completely cheesy is that? That's worse than the anonymous general manager. I hate to say it. I had to put it up there. I don't know what they were thinking about this whole eval. It was done before with Vicky Guerrero, and I'm sick to death of saying it. And I thought they would be clever with it, but they weren't. The only makeup I guess I could say they had was the whole transformation in the ambulance. Which is weird because it makes you wonder what happened to the people in the back of the ambulance that put him in there. Or was anybody in the back? Because I thought I saw at least 2 people. So I'm like, okay, you go, then you stop, then here comes smoke, and then you come out and it's red. And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. But I don't know. They're starting to bring up the creep factor, I guess, because Halloween is right around the corner. And they're definitely trying to pull off this whole angle with Kane to make it like, I don't know, a dual personality, but I just don't know why. But I guess I could say pretty much the biggest travesty of the night was the main event. It wasn't because the main event was bad. The main event actually did kick it up a notch. And I was extremely impressed with it. I was very impressed. I was very happy to see it. Everybody was going, yes, yes, yes. I'm not going to lie. They made the crowd in New York hype up. I mean, they made the crowd literally hype up. If they were in New York, I can't even remember. But despite all that, it was an excellent match. When you thought that Bray had it, here comes Roman Reigns knocking him completely through the announcer table. Nuts, insane. And then it fades to black. And then I see Friday on the screen. What? You didn't even end it. You said this was supposed to be ending the feud. You didn't end it. No clean win. Nothing. It just faded to black. And that was it. What? What? Did you expect us to watch it on WWE Network when you're supposed to have NXT on next? That's ridiculous. That really is ridiculous. They've had a lot of cutaways all night through matches that was supposed to continue. And I guess if you want to see the whole thing, you're supposed to see it on the network. Come on now. Look, there are some people who have the network who does not want to switch between their television and streaming it. Please, why do I have to switch between my tablet and my TV? I don't want to do that. I just want to see it on my screen. I want to see it on cable. That's what you have it on there for. And then all of a sudden you cut it off and then it's over? And it wasn't even over. It just ended. Look, all I have to say is if you want to extend this feud out a little bit more, at least have the Wyatt family come out. At least have them interrupt. And then it'll continue from there. But when you cut it off completely, that's not fair. That's not fair to those that don't want to turn on the network to see the rest. Guys, I really tried not to rant here. I tried, but no, that's ridiculous. They came close to making this a decent Raw, but that ending was pathetic. The fact that they actually did cut it off, but without even finishing it, is just downright terrible. And it's cruel for those that actually do have the network but don't feel like watching it. It's like you're forcing people to watch your network. Anyway, guys, I'm done ranting here. I want to hear your thoughts about this. Leave a comment in the comment section. Or if you send video responses, fine, whatever. Right now, I'm just in a real pissed off mood. They should have known better. Seriously. Especially when you got Hell in a Cell coming around the corner around the Halloweeny season. And yeah, I said Halloweeny. But it's just, come on. I know you're trying to hype up Hell in a Cell, but no, this is not the way to do it. At least if you have an ending at least you have a few that you want to have capped, concluded. And if you don't want it capped, have an interruption, but don't cut the frickin' show off before it's over. Alright guys, I'm done. I want to hear your thoughts. Leave in the comments. Peace out.